No.
A woman can have a penis.
I don't think that discussing this issue in this way helps anyone in the long run. For the vast majority of women, this is all about biology, and of course they don't have a penis. We all know that. 99.9% of women, it's all biological, and it's very straightforward. For 99.9% of women, everything is a matter of biology, and I'm very, very supportive of that.
Did you know that Keir Starmer has declined 48 interview requests from major news outlets in the past year alone? This staggering statistic came to light during Piers Morgan's recent confrontation with the Labour leader. But why is Starmer so reluctant to face tough questions? As we delve into Morgan's exposé, we'll uncover the pattern of avoidance that's raising serious questions about Starmer's leadership capabilities and his readiness to govern. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favour. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now, back to the video. When Keir Starmer stumbled over the seemingly straightforward question, what is a woman? In a now famous interview, his political career took an unexpected turn. This interview was significant because it took place during a period when gender identity discussions were becoming more heated in British politics. When the interviewer asked this question, expecting a direct response, the Labour leader found himself in the hot seat. Rather, Starmer paused, his uneasiness evident as he tried to think of something to say.
So you've previously agreed that it's transphobic to say that only women have a cervix. What constitutes being a woman to you?
Let me start by saying the blindingly obvious. For 99.9% of women, it's all biological, and we will fight for women's rights going into the future. So that's, in a sense, very straightforward. But as you will all know, there are a small number of people who do not identify with the gender that they were born into.
After concluding that a woman is an adult female, he included a number of qualifiers and disclaimers that left many viewers perplexed and dissatisfied. The public's response was brutal and quick. Videos, memes and comments about Starmer's clumsy response went viral on social media. His inability to give a precise definition was interpreted by many as a sign of weakness, indecision, or worse, a deliberate effort to avoid upsetting any specific group. The event was widely covered by the media, and political analysts of all stripes offered their opinions. Starmer's response, according to some, was indicative of a larger issue within the Labour Party, which struggles to strike a balance between more progressive social positions and traditional working-class values. Others thought it was a lost chance for Starmer to show initiative on a difficult problem. According to a well-known political analyst, Starmer's gaffe isn't just about trying to define a woman. It has to do with his capacity to voice opinions on contentious matters. This incident has turned into a litmus test for his leadership skills.
So far this year, I've interviewed the Prime Ministers of Britain, Israel, Australia. I went to the Ukraine to interview President Zelensky. I interviewed former US President Donald Trump. I've interviewed other US presidential candidates for 2024. But so far, they've repeatedly rejected all invitations. If you want to run the country, they should really stop ducking interviews, because the last guy that ran the country, he ducked interviews. What are they scared of? The Labour Party is based 2.8 miles away from his studio. Its front benchers have an open invitation to come on to debate all of this stuff, as well as their plans for running the country.
As the days passed, it became evident that this was more than a passing blunder. The event started to represent a perceived flaw in Starmer's management approach. His loyally propensity to qualify and hedge his remarks, according to his detractors, made him unfit for the audacious, decisive leadership required in contemporary politics. This misstep had far-reaching effects that went well beyond the immediate aftermath. It called into question Starmer's capacity to engage voters on sensitive topics and his preparedness for the demands of a general election campaign. One thing became evident as the dust settled: Starmer would be plagued by this incident for some time to come. Presenting Piers Morgan, the frank reporter renowned for his combative interviewing style.
Keir Starmer may well be the next British Prime Minister. The Labour leader is a hearty lead in the polls. After 13 years of Tory rule, with 3 Prime Ministers in one chaotic year recently, one of the richest and smartest men in the history of this planet says that something's literally threatening civilization, we should probably not just dismiss it. And today, I believe he made a massive miscalculation. He's reportedly briefed his top team to avoid talking about social issues, woke issues. This woke virus is real, and it ruins people's lives. It means Western society is being policed by a radical minority of people with ultra-progressive views that would seem completely insane.
Sensing that there was blood in the water, Morgan took advantage of Starmer's slip-up and was determined to reveal what he perceived to be the Labour leader's lack of clarity on important matters. Most reporters were happy to forget about Keir Starmer's gaffe, but Piers Morgan saw it as the start of something bigger. His unrelenting efforts to speak with the Labour leader would soon reveal a pattern that extended well beyond a single slip-up. What did Starmer actually want to conceal? As a journalist who doesn't mince words, Piers Morgan has established a solid reputation. His willingness to ask the difficult questions that others are afraid to ask has been demonstrated in his interviews with political heavyweights like Volodymyr Zelensky and Donald Trump. Therefore, it was obvious that the Labour leader was going to have a difficult time when Morgan targeted Keir Starmer. Morgan encountered a discouraging pattern of avoidance when attempting to get an interview with Starmer. Starmer's team repeatedly turned down invitations or provided justifications for the Labour leader's absence. Both Morgan and the general public were aware of this hesitancy to answer pointed questions. Morgan used his TV platform and social media to expose Starmer's evasion strategies as the rejections mounted. In one particularly harsh criticism, Morgan stated, "The issue isn't just Starmer's media strategy, it's a fundamental question of leadership." He contended that Starmer's unwillingness to participate in difficult conversations revealed a lack of faith in his convictions. Many voters who were becoming impatient with what they saw as political evasion found resonance in this sentiment. When Morgan compared Starmer's strategy to that of other political figures, his criticism gained momentum. He cited his interviews with the Prime Ministers of Australia, Israel, and Britain, highlighting their readiness to take on difficult questions. The comparison portrayed Starmer negatively, implying that he lacked the guts to stand up for his policies when they were called into question. Morgan's campaign against Starmer intensified as the tension increased. He repeatedly urged the Labour leader to face him in a live interview and demonstrate his abilities. With increasing curiosity, the public watched to see if Starmer would take the field at last or keep avoiding the limelight. Then, in an unexpected turn of events, Morgan was able to face Starmer on live television. Morgan asked a series of quick-fire questions that made Starmer clearly uncomfortable during the brief but explosive encounter. It became evident as the video went viral that Starmer's leadership and reputation would suffer greatly as a result of this altercation. The consequences of Morgan's attack on Starmer brought up important issues regarding British political accountability and transparency. Many were left wondering after the dust settled, can leaders afford to duck difficult questions in a time when political narratives are meticulously crafted? Or will all of the Piers Morgans in the world somehow manage to make their evasions public? The public perception of the Labour leader has been permanently damaged by Piers Morgan's altercation with Keir Starmer. Starmer's unwillingness to answer difficult questions has raised questions about his transparency and leadership skills. Deep-seated differences within the Labour Party, especially in relation to gender and women's rights, have been made clear by the incident. MP Rosie Duffield's strong views on these subjects have caused her to clash with Starmer's leadership, underscoring the difficulty of bringing the party together while tackling urgent social issues. This internal dispute is a reflection of a larger discussion concerning responsibility and Labour's course under Starmer's leadership. As the dust settles, a pivotal question arises. Will leaders continue to sidestep tough questions? Or can British politics change to prioritise accountability and transparency? The response could potentially impact the public's future confidence in our political system.